Hey, beautiful. How are you doing today? So, this weekend is Easter weekend. And that, of course, makes me think of resurrection and death and rebirth. And it's a big period of a large metaphor that is kind of circling the earth right now. And it's also, if you want to look at it from a different way, from a different perspective, it's more than a metaphor. And I want to talk about it in a couple minutes. Also, I want to mention something about the origin of Easter, which is really fascinating. So, this idea, this feeling of resurrection, rebirth, for me, when I think of that, and I think for many of us, it makes me think of awakening fresh, right? Of shedding some of the heaviness that we carry and just waking up to a new day and the possibility of a fresh start and of new possibility and miracles. And what I was thinking of this morning is how much we carry. And the interesting thing is that when we think of carrying things, we usually think of what we carry from the past, from our experience, from our stories. But interestingly, it's that we also carry heaviness from the future. Because when you think about it, all the future thoughts and anxieties and fears of what might or might not happen, what we might get that we don't want or lose that we wish we would keep, or circumstances that are stressing us, that is also a weight. And so it's fascinating how our minds carry a weight that is both in the past and in the future. And that is heavy. I am in one of those periods right now where it is heavy. And what I'm realizing these days, I don't know if it's a new realization, but I'm in it now, is that when our lives are challenging long term and that we carry all this stuff and we have all this fear and anxiety, is that I'm realizing that my body, our bodies, have forgotten how to function in another system than the system of survival and the reaction, the response in fight or flight. And I'm feeling this in me these days because I got stuff going on and my body is in a constant, I can feel it. I'm doing all the modalities that I can and talk about those another day, but I can feel how my body has gotten so used to only trying to figure out things and functioning and responding from a place of survival. So much so that I it's hard for me to imagine, well, where do decisions come from? Where does the motivation come from? Where does any action come from if it's not from a place of survival? But I do know that there's a different path in life. I've experienced it sometimes. And what I'm really thinking of these days is that we have to find things to do, to think, to feel that remind our bodies of the other path that is innate to it, other functions, other ways of being in the world that are not from survival and fight or flight. So I'm going to circle back to that in a minute. But now I want to talk about what I mentioned earlier, the origin of Easter. And I saw a post earlier today, and the title was something like Easter, yes, is the story of death and resurrection. But it said that before this story belonged to a man, it was the story of goddesses. And I just had to read what was in there because it piqued my curiosity. And I had heard some of that before, but this morning I just wanted to, wait, let me remind myself a little bit. So there's a story from Egypt with Isis. And when Osiris, I don't know how to say it in English, Osiris, was slain and his body parts were scattered, she came, gathered all the pieces, brought them back together, and breathed life back into it. And I think in the timing of when it is told, also has something to do with spring, like it's connected to it sometimes. Don't quote me, I might be mistaken on that. And then there's another story of Persephone in 600. And oh my God, I think I forgot to make the notes about it. But it's another story of a goddess, Persephone, and there is this whole story of death and resurrection. The one that I like the most is a story from 1500 years before Christ. And it's from the Sumerian text. And it's about a goddess named Inanna. And she travels into the underworld. And there are 7 gates. And at each gate, she has to surrender one aspect of her powers. And after the 7 gates, she stands naked in front of death, and then her body is hung, however, on a hook or something like that. And then she disappears for 3 days and 3 nights, and then she reappears whole. So all these stories existed before the story of Jesus Christ. And it's fascinating when you think that a lot of things in life, in the text that we read and things we believe, are metaphors. When you look historically, it's like, oh, wait. And then it's in the 300s that the Council of Nice decided to establish that Easter was going to be the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. And here is where it all circles back to what I want to say, how it pertains to us right now. And so all these stories are about the crossing from darkness to light. And it reminds us that all cycles in nature are cycles of death and rebirth. This is the natural way of going. I am finding that my story today is very discombobulated. I apologize. My mind is a little bit distracted right now, and I'm having a little bit of problem really focusing and having my thoughts organized. So my apologies. So here's my message for today. We are right now in an energy globally, celestially, historically, from thousands of years ago, of death and rebirth, of the possibility of starting anew. And there is this energy globally. And what I want to offer, whatever angle you come from it, from Jesus and this particular story or resurrection, or about spring and light coming in, or any of the other historical stories, let's jump on that train. Let's jump on that energy and allow parts of ourselves, part of our stories, part of our egos, part of the things we are attached to. Let's allow those parts to die to us so that we can be reborn on the other side with less of that heaviness of everything that we carry. And that's my feeling that I'm trying to embody these days. It's to just attach myself to that energy that so many people and nature is thinking about right now. Thinking, nature doesn't think, but whatever. And just allow ourselves to be in that process with the hope of what is on the other side of a rebirth, a resurrection, after allowing parts of us to die. Now, doing this doesn't mean that it's going to fix our lives. But more and more these days, and I want to talk about this again in another video, I am realizing that each moment when we allow ourselves to feel like this death of part of us, feel, an inner peace. Pretend like everything is okay and just rest in like the peace of God, or whatever you want to call it, the peace of the life force. We are allowing our bodies to relax and to kind of remember who we are behind our stories, behind the fear, under our stories, under our anxiety, under our patterns of working from survival, fight or flight. So I am trying these days to pick more moments during the day where I stop and try to feel that peace, that release, that transition, to retrain my body and retrain my mind into remembering what I truly am, my true nature, my divine essence, and what it really means, not means, but how we should really proceed, hopefully, as a human on this planet. So it's not a solution, it's a practice that slowly goes in the direction of a solution. Whew, I don't feel that was very good. Let me know what you think, which parts in my scrambled ideas actually connected with you. And I wanted to say, I'm seeing some comments and people are writing to me about how they appreciated my book. I'm going to put it here when I edit, and actually I can show it here too. And I would like to offer one, of course, go and check it out and buy it. It's on Amazon. The link is going to be in the description below. But also, those of you who read it and the beautiful things that you say about it, if you could go on to Amazon and write a quick review and a 5-star rating, it goes a long way in Amazon showing it to other people. And also, last thing, if any of you appreciate what I do and are moved to support me, I do have this little link to buymeacoffee.com where you can show your appreciation, and that link is also going to be in the description below. So happy Easter, happy death, happy crucifixion of the parts of you that you are willing to let go of, and then happy resurrection in a lighter state towards something that makes life a little easier to face challenges. Oh my God, my words are so off today. But that brings more joy to life and that makes life a little bit easier. That's all I got for you today. That's it. I love you. Thanks for being here. If you're still listening, thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye.